Oh, I think we're gonna talk about Canon's EOS R. Hi, my name is Chris and I'm a dance, sports, circus photographer. And that's it. I have read a lot of negative reviews about this camera, and a lot of YouTubers out there have dissected the EOS R and shared their point of view about this new release, and a lot of them were kind of disappointed. Most of the positive reviews that I've seen so far are from people that are somehow affiliated to the Canon company, they're ambassadors, so it's really hard to kind of listen to them because they are a part of the family. Before we go any further, I would like to say that I'm not paid by Canon to say what I'm about to say. I'm not an ambassador, and I got this camera for 2 weeks on loan from Canon friends. So now that you know it, you're free to leave or to stay with me. The only way to know if a camera is any good is to test it. So go to conventions, official camera launch parties at your local store, or if you have rich friends that have tons of gear, ask them to, borrow you some gear. So that's it, 2 weeks with the Canon EOS R, the 24-105 RF-F4L lens. Woo! I got there. I didn't have a ton of shoots during those 2 weeks, but 4 locations, 4 different artists, I think this could be enough to kind of see what this camera is capable of. And sorry in advance, I'm not going to be talking about the video capabilities of this camera because 1.8 times crop at 4K, no 120 FPS at 1080p. For me, it's kind of a deal breaker video wise. And I was looking at the screen right now, and you probably have noticed, I don't know if it's nailing focus all the time, but we'll see this in post-production. 4 locations, 4 different artists, but should be enough to kind of see what this camera is capable of doing. The menus are pretty much the same. There is nothing more to say. I love Canon menus. They are easy to understand. Things have changed on the top of the camera. Some buttons and dials have disappeared. In the back, no joystick and a new touch bar that I personally deactivated. I didn't have time to kind of play with that. Maybe next time. Canon wants to give a customizable camera. I understand, that's cool, but in 2 weeks, I didn't have time to really dive into this. I mainly use the joystick during focus on my Mark III, so I was a bit disoriented at first, but then using the touchscreen instead is pretty intuitive and you quickly get used to it. The camera body is not too small, I just hate how close some of the buttons are from one another. I have to admit muscle memory wasn't in my favor here. I accidentally touched the video record button up here. Yes, it is now on the top. It took me half a day to get used to the electronic viewfinder. It is a nice detailed screen. Your eye can stay glued to the viewfinder because a lot of informations are available in there. Another little thing that bothered me in use is the sensor below the viewfinder. If anything goes in front of it, like your hands, it thinks you are actually looking inside the viewfinder and the screen goes black. Not great when the tilting screen is out and when you wish to review your photos by swiping left or right. You will probably get this black screen from time to time. I don't know, maybe with a little bit of experience I'll get used to it. What about the tilting screen? My back is happy about it. I do not have to bend down or lay like a carpet on the floor to compose my low angle shots. And that's a good thing, at least for me. Again, for the few negative things I pointed out, maybe it's a matter of getting used to the camera. So what about the images? They are great, colors, depth, nothing new here. If you have worked with the Canon 5D Mark IV before, or if you have it, I don't think there are any differences. Dynamic range hasn't changed. Again, I'm not a pixel peeper, so maybe there are a few minor changes there, but I don't see the differences on my screen. I have the image of the EOS R, but you know, nothing groundbreaking or revolutionary here.
Plus en hauteur, je pense. Voilà.
Perfect. 30.3 megapixels is more than enough for the work that I produce, so really there's nothing more that I can say. This single card slot is not a deal breaker for me because on important shoots, I shoot tethered. I used to do live events and cover live performances, and 8 FPS is not amazing. It even goes down to 5 FPS if you're using continuous autofocus. I don't do these live events anymore, and if I do, I would rely more on a 1DX, and if you're a pro sports photographer, I don't think this camera is for you. The autofocus is great in photography mode, I don't know, in video. The focus is great, the autofocus is responsive. All these focus points combined with the tilting screen is amazing. It made my life easier for all these low angle shots.
Bring towards me the legs. Yes.
I cannot say anything about the size and weight of this camera because it comes with an adapter for my EF lenses, which adds a little bit of weight. And of course, the new R lenses that are coming are really bulky and heavy. So would I consider owning this camera? I do not know. Obviously, there are a few things that I love about this camera. All the focus points, the autofocus, the tilting screen, but this also means that the camera might be a little less robust, and of course it will not be weather sealed. My EF lenses work great with the adapter. They acted and responded like a native lens, which is great. The images produced by this camera are great. I would probably be able to use them on a paid gig, but I don't think I would own this camera and use it as my main camera. So this camera sits between the 6D Mark II and the 5D Mark IV. It's not a mirrorless version of one of these two cameras, so I don't think it's aiming the professional crowd. But I do understand why people are mad when talking about the price tag. But when you think about it, it's between the 6D Mark II and 5D Mark IV. So 2,400, 2,500 euros in France for the camera body and the adapter. It kind of makes sense.
Alors attention, on recule un tout petit peu. Voilà, ici. Voilà, ça ressemble là. 1, 2, 3. Voilà. Allez, on la refait tout de suite.
So for me, to sum this up, the real revolution here is the new mount, the R mount, the RF lenses that are coming up. They are amazing. A few weeks back during a presentation at a local store here, I had in my hands the 50 RF f1.2 lens, and I was blown away by the quality of it. And the 24-105 f4 RFL lens that I had with me during these 2 weeks performed really well, but it's a lens that is not fast enough for me. But we'll talk about this a little later in a future video. So basically, I'm waiting for a higher end version of this EOS R with a dual card slot, 120 FPS at 1080p, no cropping, 4K, and a higher burst rate. I cannot believe that Canon has nothing for us coming up next year. The Olympics are coming, and most of the time Canon chooses this time to announce big things. So that's it, fingers crossed. This were my thoughts on the Canon EOS R. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask them in the comments section below. Please follow me right now on Instagram because I'm posting pictures taken with the EOS R. Of course, it will be precise in the description. Do you own the EOS R? Did you have it in your hands? If so, please tell us what you think in the comments below. Thanks for tuning in this week again. Give me a little thumbs up for support. If you haven't subscribed to this channel already, please consider doing so. Let me wish you all a fantastic Sunday. I guess that I will see you all again next week. But until then, please have a good one.